Here's a very quick video on VLOOKUPs. I try to get straight to the point, so let's get started. So VLOOKUP formulas are really handy when you have a set of data and you want to get specific details from this list. So for instance, in this case we have two columns, one that says person with some names and then the number of wives each one of these lads have. And then on the other end here we have the person, right? And if we now, without having to go and say equals back solely this and then do this for each one of these, we will just do a VLOOKUP formula for that, right? So how many wives do they have? So I'm going to remove this and I'm going to show you how to do it, right? So we're going to say equals VLOOKUP. The lookup value is the person's name, right? And then the table array, that means the table or the set of data that you want this formula to look at. So we wanted to look at that data set. Then the column index, so the column index just literally means in which column should it look for the value to return. In this instance we wanted to give us the value in the second column, in column B, right? So we're going to say 2. So if your data set had started, let's say you have a data set that went all the way to column W, right? But you start your data set at column B, okay? So for the table array you would have started selecting here up to there, okay? VW. And then you will, and let's say, so in that instance column B would be your first column in that data set, right? So just remember that. And then also the lookup value that it's looking for needs to be in the table array the data which is on the left hand side, right? So it needs to be on the left here, okay? So it needs to be in the column all the way to the left of your data set. Okay, I hope that's clear. And then you can either say an approximate match or an exact match. Most of the times you'll use an exact match. So you can either say false or you can say 0, which means the same as false, or 1, which means true, right? And let's see what that does. Boom. Tells us Solly has 3 wives. That's correct. Now, if we want to just copy this formula over to these, then the only thing we need to do is we need to lock the data set cells. Okay? So all this does, you just press F4 on your keyboard while you're standing on that. Now, these little dollar signs here, that dollar sign in front of the A means you've locked the column. So when you drag this formula down, it won't move or let's say you drag it across. So in this instance we can actually only lock the rows, but we will just lock it. We'll just lock both. So but let's say you had to drag the formula to the right hand side. If you don't lock the column, it will jump to B, right? So your formula in this column would then say B2. And the same thing for the row. If you don't lock it, if you drag it down, in this one it will say 3, 4. So then eventually it wouldn't be looking at the complete data set. So you might not get some of the returns which you would have hoped for. So let's just lock both of those, right? And then now we can just drag it down. Boom, that's it. You see that Trump has 60 wives. That is the long and the short of it. Thanks for watching.